Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel, and today I'm going to be reading for you Inside Out. So let's get started. At that at that at that moment, a little girl called Riley was born. An emotion named Joy stepped up to a console at headquarters inside Riley's head. Joy saw Riley's parents on the screen as it flickered to life. "Hello, Riley," said Mom. "Oh, look at you," said Dad. "Aren't you a bundle of joy?" Because Joy was at the console, Riley felt happy, and a new happy memory was created. In headquarters, a golden spear rolled across the floor towards Joy, and she picked it up. It showed Riley as a baby. The spear was gold because the memory was happy. Joy turned and placed the spear on an empty shelf at the back of headquarters. Joy returned to the console. She touched it and heard Riley making happy baby noises. Just then, Joy noticed somebody standing next to her. "I'm Sadness," said the newcomer. Sadness touched the console, and baby Riley began to cry. Joy quickly took control again. Joy said, "I just want to fix that, thanks." As Riley grew older, the shelves at headquarters became full of memory spears, mostly gold and happy ones. From there, they made their way through the vacuum tubes that led to a long-term memory in Riley's mind world. Joy and sadness were joined by three more emotions: fear, anger, and disgust. Together, the five emotions made important choices for Riley. But fear, disgust, and anger and sadness usually wanted Joy to drive at the console. After all, Riley wanted to be happy as often as possible. Fear helped keep Riley safe. For once, he once stopped her from tripping over a cable when she was playing. Disgust kept Riley away from things that looked, smelled, or tasted funny, like broccoli. Anger cared very deeply about things being fair for Riley. Most of Riley's tantrums happened when anger was driving the console. Finally, there was sadness. Her role was not as obvious as Riley's other emotions. In fact, Joy wasn't even sure why sadness was there at all. When something really important happened to Riley, a core memory was created. These went into the core memory holder and powered Riley's islands of personality. Riley had 5 islands: family, honesty, hockey, friendship, goofball. Those were all the things that were most important to her. Each island was like a mini theme park in her mind. When Riley played around with Dad, Goofball Island was in full swing. One night, just as 11-year-old Riley was ready to go to sleep, the emotions watched as Mom and Dad tucked her into bed. As she fell asleep, the screen of headquarters went dark. "Woo! Another perfect day," Joy called happily, looking at the wall of brand new gold memories. All right, all right, we didn't die today," said Fear. "I'll call that a success." "We love you, girl," Joy continued she's got great friends, a great house, things that couldn't be better. After all, Riley's 11 now. What could happen? Joy soon got her answer. The next day, Mom and Dad announced they were moving from their hometown in Minnesota to San Francisco. Hey guys, so just sorry about that, but can you guys hear it? Right now there's a hailstorm happening. Can you hear it? But anyway. Back to the story. Well, oh yeah. On the long car journey, while the other emotions were packing, Joy tried to cheer everyone up. Hey, look, she said, the Golden Gate Bridge. Isn't that great? It's not made of solid gold. We like we though, but which is kind of a disappointment, but still. When the car finally stopped outside their new home, Riley's emotions were speechless. The house looked like an old and dreary. To top it all off, the moving van was lost, so Riley had none of her things. So all through all of this, Joy desperately tried to keep Riley's memories happy. She took control of the console and helped Riley look on the bright side. Ahead. Before long, it was Riley's first day of her at her new school. She said goodbye to her parents and headed out the door. In headquarters, Joy gave each of the emotions an important job to do. She carefully drew a chalk circle around Sadness's feet. This is the circle of sadness, Joy explained. Your job is to make sure that all the sadness stays inside of it. At school, the teacher asked Riley to stand up and tell the class something about herself. Smiling shyly, Riley shared that a happy memory of playing hockey back in Minnesota. But suddenly her smile faded. In headquarters, Joy realized that sadness had touched the hockey memory, turning it blue. Sadness! Joy scolded. You touched a memory! The blue memory was now stuck, looping in Riley's mind. Back in class, she was starting to cry, while joy, anger, fear, and disgust tried to dislodge the memory. Sadness took control of the console as Riley cried in front of her class. Her first ever blue memory core was created. Joy grabbed the core memory as it rolled across the floor. She pressed the end of day memory flush button and a tube came down from the ceiling, ready to vacuum up the memory. Joy, no! Shouted Sadness. That's a core memory! Sadness tried to grab the blue memory back from Joy. As the two struggled, they knocked into a core memory holder and 5 golden core memories fell out. Outside the window, the islands of personality went dark. Ah! Joy cried, scrambling to collect the memories. In chaos, joy, sadness, and all 6 core memories got sucked into the memory tube. They traveled through Riley's mind and were finally dumped out in a long-term memory. All the islands of personality were still dark. Joy knew they had to get Riley's core memories back to headquarters to get the islands working again, but headquarters was very far. The only route back was across the bridge to Goofball Island, and then along a light line which was a bridge to Goofball Island, then a long light line which was like a powerful cord that linked the islands to headquarters. But what if we fall into the memory dump? Asked Sadness. We'd be forgotten forever. Yeah, no, we won't fall, Joy answered. Just think positive. She collected all the core memories and began crossing the bridge, leaving Sadness behind. That evening, Riley was having dinner with her mom and dad. They were asking Riley about her day at school. It was fine, I guess. I don't know, Riley answered grumpily. Riley's parents were shocked. They couldn't understand why their daughter wasn't her usual happy self. At headquarters, disgust was driving the console. With joy and sadness gone, the remaining 3 emotions were trying to keep their best to keep Riley acting normal. But it wasn't working. Riley, is everything okay? Mom asked. Ugh, said Riley. Riley sighed. Riley, said Dad, I don't like this new attitude. Just then Riley's head, anger took over the console. I'll show you attitude, old man. He said at the dinner table. Riley lost her cool. Just leave me alone, she shouted back at her shocked parents. That's it, shouted Dad. Go to your room now. Riley stormed upstairs and slammed the bedroom door. Meanwhile, Joy and Sadness were on the light line to headquarters when Goofball Island began to crumble behind them. It was collapsing because Riley had stopped goofing around with her dad. The two emotions scrambled back across the island and reached the long-term memory cliff. Before the island fell into the pit below, Joy tried to stay positive. They would just have to find another way back to headquarters. Sadness slumped to the floor. Just one thing, she said. I'm still emotionally slumped. My legs aren't working yet. Just give me a few hours. So Joy picked up one of Sadness's legs and dragged her into the maze of long-term memory shelves. Joy had to get back to headquarters before Riley before before Riley forgot Joy existed. At that moment, Riley was chatting with her old friend Meg on her laptop. Meg lived back in Minnesota and had just told Riley there was a brilliant new girl on their hockey team. Riley missed playing with her old team, so hearing about the new girl made her feel angry. At headquarters, anger took charge of the console. Hey, hey, said Disgust. We do not want to lose any more islands. But anger had already pushed down the button. I gotta go, said Riley and slammed her laptop shut. Over, over in the long-term memory, there was a horrible groaning sound as the as Friendship Island uh, as Friendship Island began fell into the dump. Oh, oh, not friendship! Joy exclaimed. She looked down at the friendship core memory in her arms. Its color faded. Goodbye, friendship. Hello, loneliness, said Sadness. Desperate to get to headquarters, Joy led Sadness back into the maze of long-term memory. They soon ran into a funny-looking creature. You're Bing Bong, Joy realized. Riley's imaginary friend. Riley and Bing Bong used to play together. They even had a rocket wagon that was powered by a song. But over the years, Riley had forgotten him because Bing Bong's dream was to rocket to the moon with Riley again. So Joy suggested he come to headquarters with them. Ha ha, Bing Bong cried with dancing around happily. Bing Bong offered Joy a bag to carry, the core memories. He also had an idea. They could take the train of thought back to headquarters. There's a station in Imagination Land. Bing Bong said, come on, this way! The trio reached Imagination Land. Just as the train pulled away, they'd missed it. Luckily, Bing Bong knew where another station was. Right this way, through Imagination Land, he called, leading them through the huge gates. Once inside, Joy and Sadness were amazed. There was a French fry forest, trophy town, and a cloud town. Joy leaped into the small chunk of cloud and floated into the air. Ha ha, she cried. It's so soft. They soon reached a house of cards. Bing Bong Bing Bong rushed inside and reappeared with his own rocket wagon. Now I'm all set to take Riley to the moon, he called. Suddenly, a handsome teenage boy rolled up on a conveyor belt. A worker explained that the boy was an imaginary boyfriend. I would die for Riley, the boyfriend said. Ugh, said Joy. Then she then she Bing then she Bing Bong and Sadness carried on towards the train station. Meanwhile, Riley was at her tryouts for her new hockey team at headquarters. Fear and Fear had recalled every single hockey memory, trying to fill the core memory holder. He didn't know what else to do. He thought one of them would surely be able to replace the missing core hockey core memory. One one out on the ice, Riley tried to hit the puck but missed and fell over. Fear's pain plan hadn't worked. Anger pushed Fear aside and took over the console. Riley threw down her hockey stick and stormed off the ice. Inside Riley's mind, Hockey Island was crumbled and sunk into the memory dump. Joy, Sadness, and Bing Bong had almost made it to the train station when some mine workers suddenly took Bing Bong's wagon. They threw in they threw it into the memory dump. No, cried Bing Bong. Riley and I are going to the moon. He sat on the floor and started to cry sweet. Joy tried to cheer him up, but nothing worked. She could hear the train. They had to hurry. Sadness sat beside Bing Bong. I'm sorry they took your rocket, she said. It's all I had left for Riley, Bing Bong replied. After they had talked a bit longer, he said, I feel okay now. Bing Bong stood up. Joy was surprised. Sadness hadn't made Bing Bong feel worse. She had made him feel better. Joy, Sadness, and Bing Bong made it onto the train, but it stopped when Riley went to sleep. They headed to Dream Productions, where Riley's dreams were created. A special filter made everything look completely real to Riley. Suddenly, Sadness had an idea. They could create a scary dream to wake up Riley and then get the train of thought moving again. Joy liked the idea, but it Joy thought it would be better to wake up Riley with happiness. That's never happened before, said Sadness, but Joy was excited about her plan. She found a cute dog costume and told Sadness to put it on the back half. Together dressed as a dog, they ran onto the set of Dream, while Bing Bong looked after the bag of core memories. Back at headquarters, Fear was on Dream duty. He was watching He was watching the dog run around on screen and finding it a bit dull, but then suddenly the dog split in half. But at Dream Productions, Sadness and Joy had to come apart in the dog costume. Joy was now chasing Sadness around the set through through the reality filter. It looked pretty scary. As Riley began to stir, the Dream Production gods realized what the newcomers were up to. Joy and Sadness hid, but Bing Bong was arrested. Bing Bong was taken down to Riley's subconscious which contained her deepest fears. Joy and Sadness went to rescue Bing Bong. They met a huge scary clown clown called Jangles. This gave them an idea. They took Jangles back to Dream Productions, and he stomped through the set. Riley woke up. Meanwhile, at headquarters, Anger had plugged an idea bulb into the console. After everything that had happened, without Joy around to help, Anger decided the best thing for Riley to do was run away, back to Minnesota. This idea came to Riley's mind as she woke up from her scary dream. At that moment, Joy and Sadness were back on the train of thought, which was moving again. Joy turned to Sadness. Hey, that was a good idea about scaring Riley awake, she said. Really? Really? Said Sadness. She was glad to know she'd been helpful. The pair found a memory spear on the train and discovered it was one they both loved. Sadness remembered it was the day that Riley's hockey team lost the playoffs when she missed the winning shot. Joy loved it because the whole team had come to cheer Riley up. Later, later at Riley's house, Riley sneaked downstairs secretly borrowed Mom's credit card to buy a one-way bus ticket to Minnesota. At the moment, the tracks underneath the train of thought began to crumble. The train crashed and its passengers fell onto the ground. Joy looked up to see a huge space where Honesty Island used to used to be. It was gone. That's our way home, Joy cried. We lost another island. What's happening? Haven't you heard? Replied a mind worker. Riley is running away. After the train crash, Sadness realized they could use a recall tube to get back to headquarters. Joy and Sadness stepped into the tube, but Sadness accidentally touched a core memory and it turned blue. Sadness stepped away when she saw what she had done. Joy began traveling up the tube alone, but the cliff underneath began to break apart. The tube broke and Joy fell deep into the memory bump. Joy! Sadness cried. At that moment, Riley was heading for the bus station, feeling nothing. Down at the dump, Joy felt hopeless. She looked at the memory, which with the hockey team cheering for Riley. One of Joy's tears fell onto the spear, as she wiped it away. The memory re- rewound and turned blue. Joy saw that Riley had been sitting sad alone before the happy part of that memory. She suddenly realized that Sadness was important. The team mumbled. They came to help because of Sadness. Just then Bing Bong appeared and came up with an idea. They could use Riley's rocket to escape the memory dump. They sung loudly to power the rocket, but each time they flew up, they couldn't reach the top of the cliff. Joy was about to give up, but then Bing Bong urged to give her one more go. This time, without Joy noticing, Bing Bong jumped out of the rocket before it left the ground. Now it was lighter than the rocket, which with Joy inside soared up and landed safely on the cliff. When Joy realized what Bing Bong had done, she looked over the edge of the cliff and saw him far below, dancing with happiness. Go save Riley, he called. Take her to the moon for me, okay? I'll try, Bing Bong, Joy replied sadly. I promise. Then Bing Bong took a bow and disappeared. Riley didn't need him anymore. Joy knew she had Joy Joy knew she had to find Sadness before going back into headquarters. She looked up and spotted Sadness flying away on a chunk cloud. Sadness! Joy shouted. I I only want to make everything worse, Sadness replied. Joy tried to chase Sadness, but the cloud was moving too fast. She reached over the edge of the cliff and saw Island crumbling into the memory dump. Then Joy spotted Riley's imaginary boyfriend sitting alone nearby. She had an idea. Joy used the boyfriend generator to make hundreds of boyfriends. Using them as a huge tower, she swung towards Sadness. Joy, Sadness said. Gotcha, Joy cried as as she grabbed her in midair. Hang on! The two flew in the air towards headquarters. Splat! They hit their back window, slid through the glass. Going to get going going to get Joy. How are they gonna get Joy and Sadness inside? Disgust had an idea. She taunted Anger until he got mad and lit up in flames. Disgust picked him up and used the fire to cut a hole in the window. Joy and Sadness climbed inside. Oh, thank goodness you're back, cried Fear. Goodness, you're back. Joy looked up at the screen and saw Riley was on the bus to run away from San Francisco and her parents. Sadness, Joy said, it's up to you. Me? Sadness replies, oh, I can't, Joy. Yes, you can, said Joy. Riley needs you. Go. Sadness took a deep breath and stepped up to the console and pulled out the runaway idea bulb. On the bus, Riley's face suddenly changed from a totally blank to very sad. She stood up. Wait, she called out to the driver. I want to get off. At Riley's house, Riley had just arrived back home. Mom and Dad had been worried sick in headquarters. Other emotions looked on as Joy handed the golden core memories to Sadness. The spears slowly turned from gold to blue. Sadness placed them in the projector. As Riley's memories of her old friends began to came be, as friends and home came into her mind, and she began to cry. Riley told her parents how she met felt. I miss home, she said. Please don't be mad. We're not mad, said Dad, as Mum hugged her tightly. At headquarters, a new half bowl, half gold, half blue, half gold core memory rolled up and generated a brand new family island. A few days later, islands of personality reappeared with a few extra ones too. We've been waiting a lot. We've been through a lot lately, said Joy, but we still love our girl. After all, Riley's 12 now. What could happen? And that's the end of the story. I hope you enjoyed this video that I just read for you, and if you want to listen to more of my stories, please like and subscribe. And also, I have one more thing to say. Inside Out is a movie, so you can watch it on Disney Pixar, and or you can go to the movies and watch it. And I also have some more news. Last year, Inside Out 2 just came, and I think you should watch it, but and that's all I have to say. Bye bye.